In several videos on this channel, we presented the view of Meta AI chief scientist Yann LeCun about Meta's approach to AI, the skepticism about LLMs, and the rejection of terms like AGI. In most cases, the audience was represented by a non-technical audience. We recently attended CVPR 2025, probably the leading event in computer vision, one of the main pillars of artificial intelligence. Laurens van der Maaten is Distinguished Research Scientist at Meta AI and was one of the keynote speakers at the event. We thought it would be interesting to listen to how the visions of Meta AI were explained to a technical audience. Van der Maaten gave a detailed overview of the Llama model, but towards the end he gave a more detailed explanation about why AGI is not considered a correct objective in AI. Let's take a listen.
In that sense, it kind of seems odd to frame AGI in terms of human intelligence. Anyway, these models are already way better than any human and a lot of things. Llama 4 knows way more than me about pretty much anything. But they need to be better than humanity's collective intelligence. That needs to be the real goal of AGI, to achieve the union of all human intelligence and the interaction between them. And this can only be achieved in a type of network of human and AI agents. To build human-agent interaction, we believe we have to build three systems. The first two systems are after Kahneman, the third one is new. System 1 is the thinking fast system. It is instinctive and reactive. It produces a response for any input almost immediately, leveraging baked-in knowledge. And this is what the current Llama 4 models are essentially doing. System 2 is a thinking slow system. It is logical and deliberative. It reasons explicitly and considers different options and outcomes before formulating a response. System 3 is a thinking together system. It is interactive and collaborative. It finds others with complementary skills or experience to try and solve more complex tasks. So where are we now on this path to human-agent interaction? Well, we clearly have System 1 models that are getting pretty good. System 2 models are starting to arise as well. There are multiple bets in this space, but the most appealing one so far seems to be reasoning models. Reasoning models add a kind of scratchpad to LLMs, and the scratchpad gives them more freedom to think through problems before providing an answer. The model training relies primarily on reinforcement learning to use the scratchpads. But there's nothing fancy about this. Reinforcement learning is mainly re-ranking things that the model can already generate. The model can generate an exponential number of things though, and so re-ranking is a very powerful mechanism. In particular, the model is using the entropy of the scratchpads to make that really effective, and the result can be very powerful. What we're seeing is that reasoning models perform a lot better than the traditional models in verifiable domains like math or code generation. They can also help in non-verifiable domains, for example, personal finance, if you develop stronger workflows. The third system is System 3, the thinking together system. Think about some of the tasks listed here. To complete some of these tasks, specialized agents and/or people are going to have to interact. For example, the birthday example requires finding what vendor options exist for props, what catering options exist, which parks have good parking, do they need a permit, maybe rent a van for transportation, print custom invitations, and send them out. And a lot of that an individual AI agent is able to do, but for some of it, that agent will have to communicate with other agents. For example, the car rental agent will have its own agent to determine what vans are available when, etc. So a lot of interaction needs to happen when you complete this task. And the same is true for for some of the more utilitarian tasks that are listed further below. Now, what do we need to build in order to get to System 3? There's a couple of things that we clearly need to do. The first one is we need to democratize the creation of agents that leverage private tools or private data, so that we get specialized agents that perform tasks that other agents can't. In the same way that we right now have specialized humans or specialized companies that are the only ones who can do particular things. Right now, building these agents is still hard, but we can make this a lot easier for folks to encourage the creation of these agents. The second thing you clearly need is a kind of platform or network. Agents have to be able to find each other in order to be able to interact and collaborate. And we should assume there are going to be bad actors on this network as well. So you're going to need things like authentication and trust mechanisms. You can't collaborate without trust. Note that agents may also have to compete in the network as a way to ensure efficient allocation, in the same way as in human society. Thirdly, agents need an efficient way to communicate. There's some initial proposals for this, like MCP, but nothing is truly standardized yet. And the final thing that System 3 will need is a kind of theory of mind. Communication is often imperfect. And so System 3 will have to know what are the intentions of other agents or humans in the network, why are they taking certain actions, etc., even if that's not explicitly communicated. For example, in the birthday example, there's a lot of stuff I left unspecified. I want the kids to be safe. And so I need all the agents to operate in that way. You could say that is about alignment, but alignment is often personal. For example, I may care more about teaching children something than others, and I want to weave that into my birthday party. Some may like bling and cheap plastic toys on their birthday, and others may not, may find that wasteful. I may like country music and want to expose my children to that, but others may want to make a different choice. And so all those kinds of things, System 3 will have to develop a theory of mind about, and that theory of mind will have to be part of the reasoning about what actions agents are going to take. It's not just about correctness. So let me conclude. The world is moving to a place of human-agent interaction. Llamas are going to be collaborating. And at different points in time, and in order to do that, we need to develop these three systems. And at different points in time, the development of different systems will accelerate progress the most. For the past few years, pre-training was the biggest lever of improvements because it was improving System 1 the most. Now that seems to be tapering off a bit, and most of the improvements seem to be shifting towards System 2 through the development of reasoning models. And the biggest improvements are probably going to be there for a while. Over time, though, the improvements are going to be leveling off there as well, and that's when System 3 will become the biggest level, where we want to start scaling by scaling the number of agents rather than scaling the number of model parameters or the number of reinforcement learning steps that you're doing. So if you want to be ahead of the curve, you want to start thinking about System 3 now. Now, building any of this is not going to be easy. It will be rocket science every step along the way, with scaling and integration being the two big problems that we need to overcome. And System 3 will add an entire new aspect to scaling, namely the number of agents, as well as to integration, namely the development of a decentralized AI system. I hope my talk has given you a bit of a sense of what it will take to build these systems. So let's all go and be rocket science and go build them.